So we're already on step 3 of the giving it up in 6 steps. So we're halfway there. And you may notice that reshape, step 3, is still not at the point where you're actively giving up. Now, if you have already given up and you're now just working through these steps, that's absolutely fine. But if you're working through them absolutely kind of step by step and doing things exactly as we're suggesting, then you might be thinking, how are we on step 3? How are we on week 3 or day 3 or month 3 and still not at the point where we get to finally say goodbye? And really, this is because it's so important to work through all of these little bits, to look at all these routes, to look at all these additional steps before we finally say, that's it, no more. So these extra steps, I know it feels like it's taking a long time, but think how long you've waited to give this habit up. These extra steps are making it more likely that you'll be able to do this for good. And isn't that worth it? So we've spoke in detail in steps 1 and 2 about how every behavior has a purpose, and that purpose, at least at some point in time, was designed to be positive. So in step 3, hopefully you'll already have an idea about what that purpose may be. You'll already have an idea about what the role is of this habit in your life. So step 3 is all about reshaping this. It's all about looking at the things that you can replace this habit with. But it's also about looking at what your life is going to be like when you've given it up. It's looking towards the future, and it's looking at creating almost a shell that you can step into, looking at really giving you this belief that things can be different, but giving you this shape of what things will be like when you give it up. So we're going to start by looking at some goals, looking at some things you want to see from your life when you give that habit up. And it's really tempting when you've got something in your life that you want to change to really pin all of your hopes on this, to pin all of your hopes on this changing. So you may have this long list of things that you haven't started. You may have this long list of things that you wanted to do that have no bearing at all on the habit. So when you start putting your goals in place, start looking at them and saying, do I need to wait to do this? Did I need to wait to do this? And look specifically at setting goals that are all about the habit. So if you want to be more confident, then you may not need to stop the habit to do that. If you want to wear certain clothes or you want to go to certain places, that might not be really dependent on the habit. Things that might be dependent on the habit would be monetary goals. So if you spend a lot of money on this, then having the extra money and looking at what you want to put that extra money into is a good goal to have. If you've got things like, for example, if you smoke, you might find that all your clothes smell and you want to start wearing different types of perfume, or you want to start being more aware of what clothes you have and that freshness, then that's a goal to have. So be really clear about whether these goals are completely dependent on the habit, because it's so tempting to put all of our expectations for the future on not having this habit. And when I've got this, when I've stopped this, I'll be able to do this, I'll be able to do that. Really think about what does make a difference and really think about things that are dependent on this habit when you start writing these goals. And after you've got your goals written, you're going to start thinking about what you can use to replace this habit. So when you look at those goals, you might find that one or two of them actually will help you in this replacement, or that you might need to add something else in order to meet that goal. So writing the goals first helps you to really understand what you can start thinking about replacing that habit with. And think about things that are positive in your life. Think about things that are things that you really enjoy. Think about things that will bring benefit. So you're looking at replacing this habit with something that does the same job. So if your habit is very dopamine enhancing, you want to look at replacing it with something else that creates dopamine. If your habit is very attachment focused and connection focused, you want to replace it with something else that has that attachment guide to it, that attachment area. So also, if your habit is something that's really self-soothing, you want to replace it with something that's self-soothing. So really think about what that might be, and consider also what that might do within your life. So think about, can this thing that I'm replacing my habit with go rogue and become a problem in the future? Is this thing motivating enough? Do I really want to do it? So really spend a little bit of time really thinking about what you can replace that with, and making sure that it does what it needs. And if your replacement doesn't have a self-soothing element, add something else that has a self-soothing element to it. So a lot of habits start up as a way of creating this self-soothing, and therefore you will look, when you don't have your habit anymore, you will look to want to self-soothe. So you may find that the saying goodbye to the habit creates a grieving process, and that this self-soothing is something you want to do, and your brain might immediately want to bring you back to the habit as a self-soothing. So do think about, what can you do? What sort of things can you bring into your life that make you happy and give you that self-soothing? And you will gain a lot of benefit from giving up this habit. You know that you will. But often when we think about giving something up, particularly if it's something that's causing harm to us or causing harm to those around us, we focus really hard on the problems. We focus really hard on, if I don't do this, then this will happen. If I don't do this, then this will be the thing that follows. If I don't do this, the consequences are great. And those consequences could be health based, they could be attachment based. You may lose people in your life if you don't give it up. They may be really, really, really scary consequences. And this may be the thing that's really motivating you to change. But for many, many people, the consequences aren't what motivates us. And I know they really should be. And I know it's so frustrating that these really big consequences aren't enough to help you give up. But the reality is, if this is what you were motivated by, you would already have done it. So let's start focusing on the benefits. Let's start focusing on these hopes. Let's start focusing on what wonderful things will come to you after you've given up, rather than focus on the consequences. Because for lots of us, we aren't motivated by fear. We're motivated instead by hope. And we don't want to think about fears. We don't want to think about what things might happen. We don't want to think about the bad. We want to think about what may be coming to us. We want to think about hope. We want to think about that sense of excitement. We want to think about what's new. And this is something that you see a lot in politics. So if you've got a government who are terrible, who are doing awful things, it's often not enough to have that scare of, but they might do this next, they might do this next, this is how your life might get worse. It's not enough to say this government is terrible, we need to change them. Instead, what the opposing parties need to do is they need to show you hope. They need to look at how things will be better. They need to give you these exciting things to reach for. They need to give you these things that are coming up. Hope is, on a lot of occasions, more of a drive for people than fear. And we've seen it in so many different occasions. We've seen it with the way that Obama bringing hope, like literally making hope his statement, created far more excitement than just simply the Bush regime is terrible, let's get rid of it. Let's look at how Brexit created this sense of hope, this sense of this is exciting, we don't know what will happen. Even though the Brexit camp couldn't say what new exciting things might happen, the fact that it was new and it created hope meant that that won more in the polls than if you do this, bad things will happen. People don't like being told these bad things will happen if you do this. And we don't like being told that. Our subconscious does not want to know all of the horrible things that will happen, all of the terrible consequences of continuing your habit. It doesn't want to know. What it wants to know is all the good things that will happen. So rather than saying, my partner will leave me, my children will move out, you say, I will have an amazing relationship with my partner. My connection to my children will grow. My children will have happier lives. By promising benefits rather than scaring with consequences, you will get your subconscious on board much, much quicker. And yes, it's completely and utterly true that there are lots of people who are motivated by fear. They are motivated by consequences. But I do think that most people who have a habit, particularly one that's causing harm, are constantly told of the consequences. They already know them. So if you were going to be a person that was highly motivated by consequences, you would already have given up. So it's more likely, if you're in this position, watching these videos, wanting to make these changes now, that you're more motivated by hope and by benefits and by exciting new things than you are by consequences. And I'm also going to bring in the theory of intrinsic and extrinsic motivation now. And extrinsic motivation is motivation that comes from external sources. So extrinsic motivation is, you will get this if you do this. I will give you this. I will punish you if you do this. Motivation that comes from elsewhere. And intrinsic motivation comes from you. Intrinsic motivation comes from all of the self-actualization. It comes from the great things that you're achieving. It comes from yourself. And it's true that intrinsic motivation is much easier to work with. So far more successful people are considered to be successful because they have this intrinsic motivation. But if you're somebody who's highly extrinsically motivated, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I don't think that we should ascribe morals or judgment to what your motivation style is. So if you know that you're somebody that's really motivated by external forces, then do think about how you're going to build this into your new reshaping. So when we think about all the benefits, it's okay to say, I will buy myself this if I manage to meet my goals. That's absolutely fine. It's okay to say to people, check up on me, ask me how I'm doing, if you know that that's important to you. So do think about what motivates you. Do think about what you want people in your life to do. Do be careful about adding too much of a shame kickback, though. So if you want people in your life to cheer you on, be really clear about how you want them to do it, and be clear that you don't want them to say, you're bad, this is terrible, don't, these are the consequences. Instead, you want them to say, oh, this is brilliant, you will save so much money, oh, I'm so proud of you, I'm so proud of what you're achieving. So if you want other people to help motivate you, be really, really clear about what your needs are for them. And if you'd rather that other people don't get involved at all and don't even mention it, tell those around you. So those of us who are intrinsically motivated may not want people to comment on, oh, you seem to have dropped your smoking, or oh, really good, you've got this drink rather than that drink. Be really clear about what you need from those around you and ask them for it. So one of the biggest things that helps us is actually full on belief, the belief that something is possible. So if you've had your habit for a long time, particularly, some habits like nail biting, you may have had since you were a child, it will be really hard for you to see a life without that. It will be really hard for you to see this as something that's possible. So belief is a really, really key thing. Being able to visualize yourself in this new world, being able to visualize yourself in a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years without this habit is really, really key. So how do you do that? Well, start thinking about your language. So start thinking about the language that you use. Start thinking about, when you're talking about the future, talking about a future without the habit, being very clear. Start talking about, if the habit costs you money, how much money you'll have more in the future. Start thinking about this extra finances. Start talking about the extra things you'll bring into your life, the subscriptions you can now have because of the change, because of where that money is now available. So start really using this language. Start talking about yourself as an ex-drinker. Start talking about yourself as somebody who's teetotal. Even if you haven't done the give up yet, starting to really make it clear to yourself this is your new life, and start talking about that, using that language is really important. And the second thing that really helps people is being able to visualize this. And you may choose to visualize this sort of really kind of once a week. So you may choose to constantly be replaying this and re-visualizing it. So what we're doing in our guided self-hypnosis is we are adding this element of visualizing the you that doesn't have the habit. So you're going to visualize it and you're going to have a conversation with the you from the future. So we're going to spend some time now looking at who you are going to be in the future, and we're going to look at these great things that will be in your life, the way that you're living your life without this habit. So if you are working with a hypnotherapist in a either online or a face-to-face way, but in real time, then what you would also do at this stage is you would go back to the point in which you started that habit. and you would look at that really first point, and then you would take that version of you to the new version. So both you now and the new and the version of you that started that habit and got all the benefits from it originally, you would both be able to talk to the version of yourself in the future who no longer has that habit. So that would be the way that you would do it in a session with a hypnotherapist. But what we're doing today is we're just doing the bit that isn't overly triggering and isn't hard to kind of work through and to navigate without that extra kind of help. So we're just doing that bit where we're talking to our future self and seeing the benefits from that future self. So I'm going to suggest now that you stop this video, and instead of going straight into the guided self-hypnosis, you decide to spend a bit of time looking at these goals, looking at these benefits, looking at what you'd like to replace this habit with. So I would suggest spending maybe a couple of days just really working on how you're going to reshape this before you come back and then do the meditation. The next part of this video is designed to put you into a relaxed state. So do not listen to this whilst driving or operating machinery. And now we're ready to undertake this guided self-hypnosis, this meditation to visit your future self, the self that doesn't have this habit anymore. So we're going to start by just relaxing and just being aware of our breathing and being aware of the way that your body is sitting. And as you do so, you're going to close your eyes. So you're going to close your eyes and just put your focus on your body. So not thinking about what you can see now those eyes are closed, thinking about how your body feels. And those closed eyes will have already sent a message to your body that it's time to relax. And as you listen to my voice, you may be aware of the sounds and sensations from the room around you. And from now on, every sound will take you deeper and deeper into relaxation. And every word I say will take you deeper into that state of relaxed mind bliss. And as you're aware of your body, as you're really focusing on what it feels like, on what parts of it feel heavy, or what parts of your body are reminding you of things that it would like you to do for itself in the future, just be aware now that every sensation from your body, everything your body is making you aware of, again, is going to, from now on, help you go deeper and deeper into relaxation. And you may now, as you begin to relax, be wondering what peaceful scene I will bring to you today. And maybe you have some preferences. Maybe as you look out the window, your mind might be taking you to the thoughts of sunshine, of summertime, of holidays, of the sea and of the beach. And maybe as soon as I reminded you of the beach in the summer, your mind instantly wanted to take you there, to that horizon with its deep blue sea meeting the light blue sky. And your thoughts might be naturally drawn to those fluffy clouds across the sky, and to breathing in that fresh, salty air, and to hearing the gentle swooshing of the waves. Take some deep breaths and just continue to relax. And maybe when you thought about relaxing, you thought of deep golden sand beneath you, golden sand beneath your feet. And you can do this if you wish, for this is your visualization. It's all down to you. And maybe as you imagine your feet sinking a little into that warm sand, you've put your awareness onto your feet, and now you're aware of your feet. You can feel them beginning to relax. And because you thought of your feet and you wanted them to relax, you might now be remembering weeks 1 and weeks 2, where your relaxation went from your feet to your knees and up your body. And therefore your subconscious may already have begun to push that relaxation upwards, up through your legs as you breathe deeply. And as you sink deeper and deeper into that relaxation, allowing it to rise further now, up to your stomach, to your chest, to your neck and your head, so that every part of you deepens into relaxation with every single breath. And just relax further now, allowing that beautiful, pleasant feeling to spread all across your body, so that every muscle and nerve now grows so loose and relaxed, and so your arms are limp and relaxed, just like a rag doll, peaceful and content, so calm, so safe. Every breath now, every word, every beat of your heart taking you deeper and deeper into relaxation. And can you hear the gentle sound of the waves now? Water is associated with emotion. And because of this, in the inner world, water, and particularly the sea, can hold our emotions for us. It can contain them so that we can interact with them in a way that allows us to decide how much intensity we experience them at. So if you want to feel less of an emotion, or you want to feel an emotion less strongly at any point in this session, you can pass that emotion to the sea and let the sea neutralize it as it brings you back to calmness. And now I'm going to count down from 10 to 1. Are you ready? 10. Breathing in the cool, salty air of the beach now, as you look out at that beautiful horizon again, as you stand by the waves. 9. Feeling the warmth of the sun on your skin and the warmth of the sand underneath the soles of your feet. 8. As the fluffy clouds in the sky create shapes, while you listen to the gentle splashing of the tides, watching that gentle ripple of the waves. 7. Take a step forward now towards that horizon, your feet sinking into the warm sand as your gaze draws down to the point where the light blue meets the deep blue, down, down into those lapping waves. 6. Your eyes follow the line of the sea down. The sea down to where it meets that warm golden sand, and then your gaze travels to your feet and you watch them stepping across that sand, closer and closer to those waves. 5. Those waves that draw in and out, as though they're drawing away from you with your out-breath and towards you with your in-breath, as though it is you yourself who are drawing these waves ever closer to your feet. 4. Out-breath away from you, in-breath towards you. Out-breath away, in-breath towards, taking those steps, walking forwards. And now the waves lap at your toes, the coolness against them surprising you, as now it reaches the main part of your foot and then reaches your ankles and up into your calves. 3. Keep walking forwards, that gentle sea pushing against you, making each step you take feel like more and more effort. As the sea rises to your knees, to your thighs, to your hips, and as you pause, as you let the waves bounce back and forth across your waist. 2. Just let that water rise now. You are safe. Safe and secure within the beautiful sensation of the waters, of that emotion sea. And let that emotion sea rise up to your chest, to your neck, to your face and over your head. And because this is emotion sea, you can breathe, see and hear perfectly well within it. And 1. Completely enveloped in the emotion sea, feeling relaxed and wonderful. And within this safe space of emotion, you can explore memories. And memories, like time, aren't linear in the way that we imagine them to be. Your subconscious knows where it's going as well as where it's been. So now we're going to look at the future, and we're going to look at the memories of what may be. So before we go to the what may be, think about any emotions that you associate with your habit. Think about any emotions that you associate with what you want to give up. And just push those into the sea so that the sea can turn the intensity of them down. And now you're going to ask the sea to bring you to a memory. You're going to ask it to take you to the memory of yourself in the future. You're going to ask it to take you to a time a year from now. A year from now, when you're living a life without your habit, where you're happy, where you can see all of the changes you've made and how they affect you. So we're going to let the sea just carry us here now. And we're going to start building up this scene by being aware of what you can sense within it. So thinking first of all of what you can feel in the space. So you will be with the future version of you. You will be seeing them, you will be hearing them, you will be experiencing them. So in this future, what does the space around you feel like? What's the temperature like? What can you smell? What fragrances are around? And what can you hear? What's happening in this space? What's happening around? And then bringing up what you can see. What are you seeing? What do you look like? What does future you look like now? What is different to how you look and feel? What does future you's body look like? What's their facial expression? Where are they? And as you're looking at future you and looking at the way that they've changed, future you catches your eye. And you notice a lightness within their eye. And you notice them smiling. And they say to you, I've been where you are now. So I know what you're going to ask me. And I know that it all happened as I'm telling you it's happening. I know that this is all real because this is part of my life. You being here and me being here are part of my memories. So I know what you're going to ask me, but you don't know what you're going to ask me, and you don't know what I'm going to say. So ask me now. Talk to me. Let's communicate. So now you communicate with your future self. And now, as that conversation begins to end, and now as you thank future you for giving you so much hope, you ask future you how you will make this happen, how you will become this person, how these changes will come to pass, because you know that you alone carry this responsibility now. And future you just smiles. And they hold out a piece of paper to you, a piece of paper that's been rolled up. And I'm wondering what that paper looks like for you now, how big it is, what colour it is, what it's made out of, and how it feels to reach over and to take that paper, and how that paper feels underneath your hands as you unroll it. And there is a word on that paper. Say that word out loud. And as you do so, future you says, every time you say this word, you will be working to your goals. You will know that you can be the person I am. You know, and you will believe that it will come to pass. So remember this word. Pass it now to your conscious mind. Remember it. And now, holding on to this word and holding on to this beautiful positivity and belief you feel now, I'm going to bring you back to your everyday consciousness. And I will do this by counting from 1 up to 5. Are you ready? You will use these numbers to reorientate yourself. And on the count of 5, your eyes will be fully open and you will feel fully alert and contented and fully awake and ready to continue with your day. You will feel completely rested and rejuvenated and be feeling wonderful about yourself inside and out. Let's begin. 1. Slowly, calmly, easily and gently returning to your full awareness once again. 2. Feeling completely rested and refreshed and ready to continue your day. 3. From head to toe, feeling wonderful inside and out, physically fresh, mentally balanced and emotionally calm. 4. Your eyes begin to feel sparkling clear and fresh. And 5. Eyes wide open, fully aware and feeling wonderful. And as you have a little stretch and prepare to now go on with the rest of your day, just really kind of bring your mind back to that feeling of not having that habit, to that feeling of what your future life is going to be like. And as you hold on to this, just really kind of remind yourself that this is something that you'll want to keep coming back to. So Think about how you're going to keep doing that. Are you going to do this meditation every now and again, or are you going to spend some time thinking about that word? Are you going to keep bringing that word back? Are you going to write it on a post-it note and leave it around? Are you going to simply say it to yourself every day? How are you going to really hold on to this future version of you and really cultivate this belief? So we are now at the end of step 3 and ready to start thinking about the next step. So I will see you back here after you've let all of this settle and come into place. I will see you back for step 4, transform.